I knew ending the relationship was the right thing to do, but that didn't make it hurt any less. Welcome back to the series where I am sharing 20 life lessons that I learned in my 20s. My name is Brandon, and I am sharing lessons about what I have learned from living alone to feeling lonely and now heartbreak. And I think heartbreak is one of those things where you can kind of understand it, but you can't truly understand it until you actually experienced it yourself. If you are enjoying the series so far, please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and I would love to have you along for the rest of the series. So thank you in advance, and now let's get into it. I experienced heartbreak for the first time in my 20s. I had gotten out of a relationship that, looking back, was pretty toxic, and I'm happy that I ended things. I'm happy that I was able to get out of that relationship, and I have no regrets doing it. But at the same time, I was still heartbroken. I felt so many different emotions when I got out of that relationship. I was, of course, very sad because not only was I losing my partner, but she was also a great friend, so I was losing a great friend. I was pretty angry as well. I was angry at myself for putting up with the toxic behavior. I was also upset at her for the way that she treated me. And then I also felt very confused. I kept asking myself if I made the right choice. I was asking myself if I should have done something differently. Should I have tried to work things out? Could I have been better? Even though I knew that deep down that ending things was the right decision, I still couldn't help but think to myself if I made a mistake by doing this. And I think one of the hardest things for me to understand is that missing her doesn't mean that I made the wrong decision. I could still miss her and still know that I was better off without the relationship. I could miss the good times and I could miss the good memories, but still know that I just needed to leave it. And I think that's something important to understand when you're going through a breakup. Just because you miss someone, just because you miss the memories of them, that doesn't mean that you have to get back with them. I think one of the hardest things for me was realizing how much my breakup was affecting me both physically and mentally. There were so many days after my breakup where just doing the very basic things felt extremely difficult for me. For example, I had almost no appetite, so I physically just couldn't get myself to eat anything. And that's something that I didn't really understand about heartbreak until actually experiencing it. It's not just about feeling sad and missing someone, but it can affect your whole entire day. It can affect your whole routine. Thankfully, I wasn't completely alone through it. I was able to talk to some of my friends on the phone. I was able to hang out with my friends in person. I was able to call my sister and talk to her about it. So I was very fortunate to have these people in my life, and I was able to talk to them about everything that I was going through. And when I talked to them, I wasn't necessarily looking for advice from them. I kind of just wanted someone to listen to me. But I also realized I wasn't just grieving the relationship, I was also grieving the future that I thought I could have had. I had all of these things that I wanted to do with her. My birthday was coming up. I had all of these fun date ideas for the summer. So I had all of these fun plans that I wanted to do with her, and then suddenly it's all gone. I can't do any of that with her anymore. So I think that's one reason why heartbreak can be so difficult, because you're not just losing what you had, you're also losing what you thought you were going to have. So one thing that kind of helped me get some sort of structure back into my life was making a daily task list. Every day I wrote down a list of everything I wanted to accomplish, no matter how big or small it may seem. So stuff like getting out of bed and making my bed, stepping outside for 1 minute, eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So just very basic things throughout the day. The idea was that if I physically wrote something down on a to-do list, it would motivate me to actually do it. And then once I crossed it off the list, once I got something done, I would feel accomplished and I would feel good about myself. But I also gave myself permission to not accomplish everything. If I wrote something down that I wanted to do and I didn't get to it, that's okay. I would tell myself, it's no worries. You can try to do it tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. And I think this was a very good exercise to do because it's just like a reminder that when you're going through a tough time, you just got to go day by day. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to try to fix everything all at once. It's all going to happen overnight. No, you just got to go day by day and just take it slow. I also gave myself an exercise where I call it the 3 good things exercise, where every day I would basically write down 3 things that gave me some sort of positive emotion, 3 things that made me feel happy. It could be I watched a funny YouTube video, I ate a very good meal, just something like that that made me happy, because it reminds myself that there's always good things that are happening to me every single day. I might just not take the time to acknowledge it. And especially during this time of my life when I was going through heartbreak and depression, it's just sometimes hard for me to see the positive things unless I take the time to actually acknowledge it. For the first month or so after the breakup, there would be random moments throughout the day where I would start thinking about her and then I would just start to break down and cry. It's like my brain didn't realize that this person is not a part of my life anymore. Immediately after the relationship ended, I started to see a therapist. This is something that I'm going to talk more about in a future episode, but working with this therapist has helped me so much. I also got more into video games after my breakup. I bought a Steam Deck the week after things ended, and it's definitely one of the best purchases I have ever made. I also got very into Stardew Valley. Shout out to Stardew Valley. That game kind of carried my summer, and it was just so immersive. And I was able to just escape when I was playing that game. I wouldn't be thinking about my ex. I would just be so locked into the game. It just helped me forget about everything. So that game really helped me during a very tough time. So there's definitely different things that helped me. Playing the video games just helped me escape. Talking to my friends, hanging out with them helped me just feel not as lonely. And having this daily task list, it gave me some sort of structure. But at the end of the day, none of those things actually make the heartbreak disappear. It was still there. I still had to process what happened. I still had to accept that the relationship was over. And I had to eventually become comfortable with the idea of moving on with my life without this person. My birthday was coming up around the time we broke up, so initially I was pretty disappointed. I wanted someone to celebrate my birthday with, and I had this fun idea of what I was gonna do on my birthday weekend with this person, and then suddenly I'm not gonna be able to do that anymore. That weekend, I ended up taking a solo trip to the town where I went to college at. My parents asked to come along with me, but I told them no. I told them I wanted to be alone on this trip. I filmed a video of myself when I was there on this trip, and I quickly took it down because it just felt way too raw. And looking back, that trip was a bit depressing. But eventually I stopped feeling so disappointed about spending my summer as a single person. I was really into my games, I was hanging out with my friends, and I was, starting to realize that, I don't need to be in a relationship to have fun. And that was a very big realization for me, because before the breakup, and I talked about this in my previous episode, but I placed a lot of value on having a partner. So when that relationship ended, I felt like I lost a huge part of my life. But over time, I started to build a life regardless of whether or not I was dating someone. I became more comfortable with spending time with myself. I was more invested in my hobbies. I was spending more time with my friends, and eventually being single stopped feeling like something that was missing from my life. She was still on my mind for a very long time though. For at least 6 to 7 months after the breakup, I was constantly thinking about her. And I still remember the day of the breakup being incredibly difficult. I knew I wanted to end the relationship, but seeing her sad made me feel sad. Seeing her so hurt made me feel hurt. Even though it was somewhat mutual, I still felt this weird guilt because I was the one who ultimately ended the relationship. I was the one who wanted to leave, so part of me felt like I shouldn't be this upset. I made the decision, so why am I so heartbroken by this? I remember asking her if we can stay in touch, and she said no. We kind of had this mutual agreement that we wouldn't talk to each other for at least a year. We have a lot of mutual friends, so whenever I saw those mutual friends, I would ask them things like, oh, like, have you seen her at all? Have you talked to her? How is she doing? I wanted to basically check up on her to see if she's doing okay. And now, today, it's been over a year now since we've broken up. And honestly, I'd be completely okay if I never, ever saw her again. Which is definitely something that I would have never imagined myself saying back then. And I'm not saying this because I hate her. Yes, I will say the relationship was not good. She was very toxic, but I'm not sitting here being all angry about it and talking bad about her. I'm not doing that at all. I still wish the best for her, but I've learned to kind of like let it go, and I've kind of accepted that I'm okay not having any sort of contact with her ever again. Eventually, I just reached a point where I was okay with the fact that she is not going to be a part of my life anymore. And that's ultimately what moving on looks like for me. One of the biggest things that I've learned about heartbreak is that everyone moves at their own pace. One of the biggest things that I learned about heartbreak is that you don't know how long it's going to take for you to move on, because everyone moves at a different pace. Like, for example, I have a very close friend who, when he got out of his long-term relationship, he met his now wife that same exact year. And that's great for him. I'm happy for him. But I personally told myself that I would intentionally not date for at least a year. I felt that that was enough time for me to kind of process the relationship and actually be comfortable with just being single and being on my own. And I'm not saying you need to do the same exact thing. If you get out of a relationship and you feel ready to get back out there in a month or two, that's great. If you want to wait a year, that's okay too. If it's even longer than a year, that's totally fine. You don't have to follow someone else's timeline. You just do what makes you comfortable. It's been over a year since my last breakup, and honestly, I feel happier than I have ever felt. I've grown a lot. I've become more comfortable with spending time with myself, and I learned that just because I'm alone doesn't necessarily mean that I'm lonely. I remember during that breakup thinking like, man, this is like the worst feeling in the world. And maybe at the time, yeah, it was. But now I know something I didn't know back then because I've experienced it before. If I were to ever experience this feeling ever again, since I've been through it, I know what to somewhat expect. I know what to do to kind of help me feel better. It won't be my first rodeo. Most importantly, I'll know that eventually I will be okay again. And I think that's one of the biggest things that heartbreak taught me. You can lose someone you cared about and still feel happy again. You can miss someone and still know you made the right choice. You can lose the future you imagined for yourself and eventually build a future that you're just as happy with. If you have a friend who's going through a breakup right now, the best thing you can do is just simply be there for them. You don't necessarily have to give them advice or try to solve their problems. Just being there to listen, just being present with them, that's the best thing that you can do. Just listen to them, check in on them, and just let them know that you are there. And if you're the person that's going through the breakup, give yourself some time. Sometimes it takes a few weeks, sometimes it takes a few months, sometimes it takes a few years. There's no deadline for getting over someone. And it's always okay to ask for help. I've been working with my therapist for over a year and they've been amazing. I think there's this idea, especially among men, that you kind of have to handle everything on your own, but you definitely don't have to do that. Another thing that was difficult for me about my breakup was the fear that I just may never find my person. Like, am I going to be able to find someone that I can connect with at that same level again? Eventually, I realized that I don't actually know what the future holds for me. I know that at some point I'm going to have to put myself back out there, and just the thought of that is pretty scary because I have a huge fear of rejection, and that's something I'm still working on. So question for you guys, if you have ever experienced heartbreak, what did you do to get over it? Let me know down in the comments below. Because if heartbreak taught me anything, it's that sometimes the hardest part isn't just about losing someone. It's putting yourself back out there and risking getting rejected. So that's what we'll talk about in the next episode. Lesson 5 will be about rejection and how to handle it. So thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one.